Okay, guys, hello, welcome. Good to see y'all. 45 minutes to impress you. Okay. We'll see how I can do, buddy. So, how have things been? Hello, Scott, as well. Sorry to hear it, Jack Daniels. Hopefully, this will help get get your mood in a slightly different place. How about you, Scott? How you been? Oy vey. My wife came home having a bad day too. My day was pretty good. Not to, rub it in or anything. Yeah, but it's been like 2 or 3 days since I've really engaged with you guys. So I saw Czardus made a video. He seems to have trouble with these roundabouts. I bet you his settings for the traffic is in for the TMPE is not correct. That's what I am betting. So we need to get him to work on that before he does another video. All right. So I got to catch up because, man, this city has changed since the last time I was here. Look at this. Whoa, buddy, we got a roundabout in Team 2. I thought we only had to worry about this on Team 1. What is the world coming to? What happened to our poo pond? What happened to our poo pond, huh? 6 Memorial Pond. Oh, oh, remember the days when this pond was not quite what it is, let alone what it had been just before. A swimming hole, huh? You just had to bring your little fancy stuff. So where's this going? Over to here, huh? Interesting. Okay. Underhill Grounds. Interesting name. So it goes to there. Okay. Ooh, excuse me. All right. Got some warehouses here, it looks like. Yeah. I'm sorry, I gotta go back to reading now. Gotcha. I thought it was maybe like You're planning on making some sort of cemetery thing or something over here. I don't know. Like, so this must be the railroad that was being asked to be connected to, I suppose, here. Ooh. Hmm. Alright, well. Now, you might not be doing it exactly the way you had intended, but we will do something here. Let us fix this stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, what? Wait a minute, what? I'm a little confused here. Let's Control H and then click, or Control H and click on the node. There we go. I don't know why it's going to 1. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's going to the 1 there. Because there's the surface one. That ought to work, though. And then... over here, we probably should do, like, something like this. Oh, sorry. Messed that train's mojo up a little bit. He's just got to get run right over. All right. Fun stuff. Way to mess everything up. Yep, got to remove that train. It's gone. What's with this? Doesn't quite make sense to me. Now the cargo doesn't have access to that turn. Yeah, I see what you guys are saying. What do I do? I don't know what to do. All right. Burn it all down. Oops. What we could do is stick like a... Is that just awful? Well, not anymore. It's not. uh... What I don't like about this is there's not enough room for a train right there. That's what I wasn't liking. No, I think worst case scenario, you go over here and you just don't let them turn here or something. But I don't even think that matters. I think it'll work just fine. Basically, all of that and basically what I've done is I've just added this little thing here. Let's see what this guy does. He's going to go off that way. Alright. Well, let's turn... You want me to turn this on, see how it works? Okay. Okay, let's see. Go add the southbound connection to the new area on the north connection. JDP, that's not... that does not help me understand what you're trying to... I don't know what you're trying to tell me to do. I got nothing. Okay. So... let's just look at it this way. Okay, so... train comes through and goes down, and it can do all its stuff over here. When it goes north, it comes up, go here. Doesn't really have a good connection there. Okay, let's see what we got to say. The spot you were just looking at the north tunnel exit. Best would be to connect it. I think I just handled what you guys were talking about. Y'all just hold your horses already. Like, I'll get to it. I just wasn't there yet. My goodness. Oy vey. Okay, now that looks kind of butt ugly. Alright, so. I'm going to click there, there, and there. And Alt-S. There to there. Boy, that looks butt ugly. That looks much better. Yeah, so what I had to do is I had to hold down Alt and move that to where it was a smooth transition and not like that funkiness that it had been. Alright, Dex, I'm going to leave it to you to clean that up and to clean that up. So I like my grading the way it is, so don't change my grading, but you can put, quays or keys and decorations or whatever for that, because you seem to enjoy doing that kind of stuff. I'd really... No, you could be Echo. When I say to you, I mean your team. I'll leave it to you and your team. Y'all can do nothing, or you can fix it up nice and pretty. Just don't use so much pink. Oh my god. So much pink. Pink. Did I mention pink? Because, oh my god, it's pink. 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 Check by the river. There's more. What do you mean? More pink by the river? Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Oh, don't you know. Oy vey, pink. Ugh. Those don't even look good, like, in this... from this angle. Ugh. It's not that it's gay. Pink is not necessarily gay. It's that it's ugly. I mean, it's uglier than my own face, dude. Like, ugh. Less than 10 gazebos per square meter. That's fine. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, well. There's a reason it's only 2 stars, I think. Not enough gazebo. I got a fever, and the only cure is more gazebo. That's funny. Alright. What is next on that list of things to do? I like how this got finished up a little bit. Cargo depot at Team 1 industrial area. Okay. More trains. Let's just go on. I guess they want me to connect it over here. And over there. Uh-oh, what's going on here? Traffic jam. It's just because they're all trying to get to here. Okay, we'll come back to that. And see, they added this connection here. I wonder if that's contributing. Oh, that's a metro stop. Okay. I would bring it under the highway and connect to the tracks on the other side. Maybe widen Czardus Highway so you could connect the train lines. I don't want a whole lot of interchange here to try and avoid this crap that's going on over here. Oh, okay, cool. Okay. I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm doing my best here. This is way more train than I have ever done in any city I've ever even thought about. I mean, the amount of train in this city is ridiculous. I'll be honest. And the amount of, like, look at all this public transit. I have never, ever even thought about putting that much public transit in my cities. Too American, I guess. That's Europeans for you. Train heavy stuff. Look, they got a little pond here. Okay, what else? What's next on the agenda? I suppose they want me to connect this to Czardus Highway. It's so close to this one, though. It's not like there's too much traffic going on over here. Let's see how this looks over here. I never looked at that. Yeah, that's good enough. That'll work. This is still getting backed up, though. Well, why are they bringing it all the way across the river there? Why aren't they bringing it over to this port? I don't understand. This port ain't getting no trains. What the heck is up with that? We have a spot between X Oil and the new industry that needs lanes added. That's X Oil down there. Right here. What happened there? Okay. But I want to figure out, why are all the trains coming across the river to go to here instead of coming to here? What is going on with that? Something is broken for that to be happening. We have junction restrictions. We have train restrictions. Why aren't trains? So, for example, let's look at this. It's going from Westwood to Westwood. Good. Good to know that they're coming through our city just to use our rail. Thanks a lot, buddies. Okay. That's going all the way to there. Yeah, I guess you're right. There's not too many ships going in and out, so it's all truck traffic. Oh, we're importing so much mail. And then the rest of it is agricultural products. We're pretty even keel on what we're exporting. But we need more farms. Less mail. Honestly, guys, I think this is in part due to your trolling. This is an extension of your lack of mail sorting trolling. That's what's going on. That's what's happening, because they're all going to these mail sorting facilities, I bet you. Well, that came just across the river. You have a mail sorter, huh? Let's put that to the test, shall we? So I see you have a post office. Oh, there's a mail sorting facility. Okay. Maybe you need one on this side of the map. Maybe, somewhere over near this thing. I'm just saying. You have a message retracted. What does that mean, even? Scott, are you making bad words? Are you saying naughty things? Well, put it next to this thing or shoot something. Like, I'm just saying we need to try that. See how it works out. Something's got to get fixed over here. This is not going to work. Actually, it seems like it's maybe starting to clear out, but... Alright, Jack Daniels. Hey, safe drive home, buddy. I'll try and commentate a little bit more so that you're not having to watch. What else do I need to do, though, guys? Let's see. Let's go consult Discord here. The blue metro line covers some stations which are already covered by the circle lines. Could the blue line be removed from those stations and nobody is using the airport buses? Okay, so let's see what dude is talking about. So, metro. Metro. Oh, those are tramp lines. We want metro. I think he's probably talking about this one. Okay, what's this stop? Oh, that's y'all stop. All right. So, I'm going to pause the game, delete the line. I think that's what his intention is, but we'll have to see. Okay. Let's go back to this, see what you guys are saying. All right. Something like that. There were many cargo ships having a Snugglefest, fun stuff. The problem is mainly that they are taking trains faster than the hub can pass them in and out. Divvy up the rest of the land and whatever else you want to do. Trams, yeah. Hey, Painted Heptagon. Hi, Painted. Trams are going to be the most used transport by the time we're done. Alright, Painted Heptagon. So what I have done, what I think your request was, is I deleted the blue line that went through government Let me get my bearings because I'm lost at where I am. Okay, now I'm back. Okay, so I deleted the line that went through government and went around here, and I put it from here, there, to government, down to here, and then back. So tell me if that's what you're thinking you wanted to do. All right, let's see. What else does there need to be done? So you need to hook up a cargo terminal around 910 area near the nature reserve. I think we did that. Sewage treatment regarding Crescent Park. Let's see what's going on with that. So this thing right here has got to go. So what's going on with the water situation through Crescent Park? What we'll do is we'll just boop. Well, no, that's no good because it's connected to the wrong side. So what we'll do... No, what we should do is we should just connect it here. There we go. Because that should have plenty of capacity for that little area plus all this. And then this can go away. Yay! Okay. There we go. So that's taken care of there. Let's look, because it looks like there was maybe a power issue as well. Power's technically getting spread across the city here because of the stupid little thing. Even Czardus was like, that looks funny in the middle of the river there. We need to get rid of this thing because it's spreading power to the wrong spots. We don't want our power to be intermingled like that. Okay, let's see what we got to say. Okay. Sorry, I'm on my laptop now. You can show again where the new line is. Dex, did you mean transport? Now we are using BBB's water. Right, but your area over here, it could start to spread, and I don't like that anyway. Get rid of it. Make it look better. Do something. Okay, so the line that I was talking about was, I have a line that goes from this station to that station to government to this station to that station and then back. Instead of it going here and then going to the airport and back and around. And this is getting used quite a bit, but I'm thinking that most of the passengers are Nobody's. We got one passenger. We're gonna leave one bus for that one guy. That one guy can have a bus. It's funny how little people are using the roads. That they're all using. I would imagine this station here. Yeah, look at all those people using that station. That's really what's going on there. Stations pretty much get them to wherever they need to go. I shall not delete it, paint a heptagon. I like my bus lines. And it gives this road purpose. And as we know, without purpose... I'm not going to quote Smith anymore. Look, there are people waiting at the bus stop. See? These guys are waiting at the bus stop. See? And they got to wait a long time because I only got 1 or 2 buses. Yeah, see, here comes their bus. They've been waiting for this thing forever. And it goes right by them. That's funny. And see, here's their bus, and they've been waiting forever. And 13 people got on, so. You know what the problem is? Problem's probably where your bus stop is. Nobody wants to go over here. You make the bus stop go someplace else. Someplace they want to go. Like bring the bus stop over to here or something. I don't know. Good night, Scott. Yeah, I mean, you don't... I have the line, but you put it to anywhere in your domain that you wish. So it doesn't have to go to right there. It could go to over here. Or it could go, up to this suburb or something. I don't know, and I kind of don't care. I am going to leave the bus line. I think it's important. I know that Team 2's seems like they're actually getting a lot more use out of it. Where's their stop at? Yeah, so it stops right here. That makes sense. It's a nice little short little circuit there. Okay, what else do I need to do? Alright, let's see what else. What else? I'm looking back over here. Okay, that's all I see on the Discord server. Can you take another look at the power grid in the nature reserve? Pink trees. What do you think? Alright, painted. So, I don't like it because I don't like that thing. And I'm giving you a hard time about that, so you got to deal with that. But I will say, if the power grids do become intermingled, we gotta fix that. We can't let that happen. So, whenever you're building out over here, just make sure that that stays separated in one way or the other. Dink and Dink. One thing, Painted Heptagon, you all need to work on is this is backing up. It's creating a really bad traffic jam. And all these trains, they're coming over to your thing to get into trucks, I think. Because I was wondering why they're not coming over to this port, and I think the main reason they're not coming to that port is because they're actually getting into trucks and going to your city. We got to figure out something. Well, the problem is not the intersection per se. The problem is that the trains are backing up all the way to the intersection. So even if this train wasn't here, that train would still be waiting for these trains to move. It's not the intersection. It's that there's too much traffic going into this hub. Right, but none of your cargo stations, except for this one, are really serving. And look, we're getting a backup here, too. It's happening over here as well. And really what I think is going on is all the commercial, which is all over here. This and this station are the two closest stations to all your commercial. You have some light commercial over here, but your main commercial is going to be over here, right? So that's what I'm thinking is going on. You almost need like a cargo station like over here or something. I don't know. I don't know how to fix it, quite frankly. I know redesigning this isn't going to fix that. It might help things move a little bit smoother to where it's not backing up over here. But this is backed up. Look at this. It's all way over here. It seems like it's mostly cargo. I'm not real sure where that would go without letting Team 1 really handle that. I mean, the only thing I could think of is to bring it out over here, just bring it out over the water, up here, then up this way somehow, and back. Let's take a look at, like, where's this going? From San Palma to downtown cargo, Team 1. It's going to cargo train terminal. This needs to be renamed. What shall we name it? Pinked out terminal. Take a look at the trucks coming out of the cargo hub. Delivering to over here. Right there. Right by that university. Right there. And right there. I mean, we either need to limit the usage of the hub, give an alternative. Like, I bet you if you somehow, like, you have this station here, but I just don't think this. I think what's going on is, but these two stations are not providing enough capacity for all of your commercial here in your downtown and near your university. I think what needs to happen is possibly coming off of here or something. And I don't know how to do this without really wrecking your city a little bit. There needs to be another cargo station to serve the commercial. Your cargo serves the industrial really well, but it isn't bringing anything to the commercial very well, if that makes sense. With the exception of this one, I think this one is working really good for what you got going on over here, but it's not working well enough, or it doesn't have enough capacity. I just don't think that's enough. I think you need maybe another one somewheres. I don't know. Maybe what you can do is throw another line here and somehow get I don't know. I'm not going to actually do anything because this is your problem. I'm just trying to help problem solve. But I don't know if we could somehow fit one like up in here somewhere. Right, I mean, I think the dead end could be easily enough done. You just take it out here, go up around. You might, have to move some things or go over or under or something up to here. You could either, I would instead of just using this main line, I would make my own line here. So that could be done. And then I don't know if we could somehow what is that going to? Oh, it's just doing a loop underneath right there. It's kind of a weird texture thing going on there. What's going on with that? Oh, these are actual textures that y'all have added. Yeah, I don't like that at all, but whatever. I kind of don't care about that. I wouldn't like to see what's Belp. What? Below? Is that... Anyway, I'm not worried about that at all. I express my opinions. That does not... They are opinions, and when they don't matter, then don't worry about it. There is no round 14 district, as of yet at least. So, yeah, I think maybe trying to stick a cargo station over here, or maybe somehow interior to this area, without, if you can figure out a way to do it without totally screwing up your awesome city. That's what I would suggest to try and fix this. Also, Dex's idea of putting in a loop, that might also help. Just make it basically one giant train roundabout, I guess. Between those two things, I bet you that'll solve your problem, or at least a lot of it. I'd like to see a new district next to our turn 12 district. Turn 12. Are we talking about over here, or up over here, or what? Okay, I'm looking at the screenshot now. Yeah, there's no way I'm giving you that area. There's a reason why I made it off like that. Just because you decided to use every little square inch that I gave, that it's not intended to be necessarily used every little square inch. And it's supposed to be a satellite. It's supposed to be a suburb. It's supposed to be separated out. It does look weird, but it doesn't have to look weird just because there's road that doesn't have stuff on it. That happens all the stinking time. If anything, what's weird about it right now is that there's not a road that goes through the area, and that basically is there's not a quote unquote reason for that suburb at the moment. I'm actually looking here to see what I could maybe do about that. See, I could buy new tiles here. It will slow the game down a little bit, but at this point, we ain't worried about speed. We're just trying to... We're getting kind of big, and that's one of the reasons why I always intended round 13 to be the last round that I added stuff. It doesn't mean it's the last round that we can play. We can keep playing after that, but I didn't intend to add any more spacing. And if you look over here, hey guys, do you know, is there a way to add or remove all of this districting? I guess I could press tab. So I'm just trying to kind of get a sense of the city. Is there a way I can zoom out some more? There we go. Yes, Dex, yes, y'all are a bit burby over there, bull. You know, this is really the only forced hole Everything else is kind of... Y'all have the ability to close it up. It just isn't. Wait. On Team 1 side, there's just really not enough room. There's nothing left without literally buying more plots. Like, I'd have to buy plots over here or something, or over there. It's really the only way. My opinion is that we are done expanding the city, and so any other improvements after round 13 will just be within the existing city. That we'll work the existing city. Yeah, I don't. I on Team 1 side, I don't see any expansion to really be had. I mean, they got this huge area over here. I just gave it all to them, basically. I think that's it, boys and gals and others. Does anybody else have anything that they want me to look at or work on or think about or... Yes, Painted Heptagon. I can upload this right after I'm finished with it. My intention, Jack Daniels, was that any undistricted land is never going to be developed. It's undeveloped. We have reached the limits of our city. Not that we couldn't, do this, but that it's not necessary to do it. So it'll just stay it as it is, more or less. There's no more available land to be purchased on Team 2 side. Team 2 has more purchased land, so to speak, or has purchased the extent of their land, where there is more land over here and over here to be purchased. Because the mod is just 25 city tile mod. It's not the 81 tile mod. You got to think about everybody else's computer, though, Painted. Not everybody's computer can handle it. When I do my own cities, I absolutely go for 81 tiles, but I got to think about everybody else's stuff. And it's already running kind of janky, at least on my computer. I mean, we got 114,000 people. Oy vey. All right, boys and girls and others. What do we think? Are we done? It's like that on my screen, so it's just recording what it's got. It's just choppy. And you see how my mouse is all nice and smooth there, but the game itself is just having to think hard. It's maxing out my RAM. Yeah, lots of bikes. It's a hot air balloon, dude. You haven't seen these yet? It's great for tourists. They love this stuff. Alright, boys and girls. Well, I think that's going to be it. Since nobody seems to have anything else, I'm trying to think. I mean, ultimately, if we want to expand, I think we could, but I think, Dex, you're right. No, we should just, let's go to, like, maybe round 16 or 17. We won't have any more expansions after round 13. We'll go around 16, 17. We'll see where it takes us. If people want to keep going, we can keep going. If people are ready to stop, we can stop. And then we do have some ideas and things in the works as far as what the next one will be. I've created a new map just for the purpose. Well, I'm not going to do the cinematic, Jack. I mean, I guess I could and just let you watch it. I'm not going to record the cinematic just because to get it to do right enough for me to record, it will take like 3 hours. Yeah, Dex, that's exactly the map that I was talking about. Um, if painted heptagon, we can do a vote if everybody really hates my map. I'm not trying to shove it down anybody's throats or anything, but let me save this game. And here we can, I guess, quit the main menu. So I've played this map myself, just just me building my own city. And it does have some challenges, and I think it also has some other benefits to it. But here is the overview of it. Let's see where. Let me get my bearings. Okay, yes. So if we take a look from this point of view, this is the full extent that the map would take. Those two are taken off because they're offset by the fact that this side of the river has more water taking it out of it. And so the landmass is actually about equal for both when you count it all up. And some of it's mountainous, and so it's not really buildable. It has just the one train going through here. It has the main highway going through here. And it has a secondary highway going right there. And then I did this just for you, Painted Heptagon. Watch this. Just for you, buddy. I put a nice big circle there. Nuke Duke's circle. And you know, it's a nice little map. If you play it fast forward, I'm obviously not going to save this. Yeah, I made the whole map. I made this. So let me be clear. This is actually a real valley in Idaho. Swan Valley is not my name. That's the name of the actual valley. I did obviously take some liberties with it, so the water is not precisely the way it is, but it is more or less precisely, or more or less close to what it is in real life. Obviously, this game has limits, so the mountains in real life are actually more like this tall versus this tall. And over there, that mountain would be more like this tall than being this tall, but you can't do that in the game, so that's the other part about it. And then I just completely, as far as the trees go, I just did my own thing. And what I did is I used the exact same trees and settings as Discouver, so you shouldn't have to download any other assets for it. And I kind of made two different types of forest. We got the piney evergreen forest that comes down off the mountains, and then you have the Australian scrublands, I guess, or I don't know what you'd call it, for the rest of the map. Yeah. And it's a bit challenging because this is so wide and tall that you can't put a whole lot. You're not going to be putting a ton of bridges across. So you got to deal with a lot of more limited connections than you had in Billy, or not in Billy, in Discouver. Yeah, so it's terrain.party is what I used to capture the data, and then I did a lot of work with the water to make it work. If you notice, here the water is flowing this way, and then over here the water is flowing that way. I really couldn't make the water work right and have it all flowing in one direction. In real life, everything actually flows that direction towards the Pacific Ocean. And you can see you got a much more rugged coastline here. So it's going to make for something interesting, I think. Yeah, well, I figured we'd rather have it fast flowing than than being funky flowing. That is true. This is 1 time speed, I guess, right here. What was the site called? It's terrain.party. Oh, that looks a little funky. Might fix that, but... Yeah, if you look Painted Hepticon Index, if you look on my video history on my YouTube channel, I have a little... I think it was one of the earlier live streams that I did, where I actually showed step-by-step how to bring in a file from terrain.party and how to make it work, and it was more how to create a map. Once I got to the river part, I kind of screwed the river up a little bit on that. But, you know. I kind of hate this intersection. But the other thing that we were thinking about doing, we're going to have some changes from the way Discouver was going to happen as well. So, like Jack Daniels and Nuki Duke have both said that they would. Well, I should step that back a little bit. Jack Daniels would like to build rather than be part of government, and Exo Hunter is going to be part of government, as well as myself, and then obviously Czardus. And my thought, and we'd like to get, I would at least like to get your opinions on this, guys, is that instead of necessarily having 2 teams where, I mean, we could maybe still do 2 teams where one team... This map is very readily able to do that, where you have 1 team on this side and 1 team on that side. But one of the ideas was that maybe instead of that, what we could do is have 1 person be in charge of public transportation, another person be in charge of highways and railroads, and another person be in charge of zoning, and another person be in charge of policies, and another person is in charge of power, water, and utilities, and so on and so forth. And that it's all 1 team effort, and that really on that in that level, everybody's kind of part of the government. And so there'd be Czardus as mayor, And then, we'd have, a chief of staff, so to speak. And then you'd have a secretary of transportation or of public transportation, and somebody that's in charge of the different departments that you'd have in a city, and kind of make it a little bit more collaborative to where you're not worried about, okay, well, we're going to take those islands away from you because you went outside your boundaries and that kind of thing. And we would still probably build in only certain areas at once, and we still have a lot of figuring out to do, but that is my proposal. Right. Well, one of the reasons why I proposed this way, because I kind of liked having the teams and having, that there was different flavors to both sides of the river in Discouver and all that, but also particularly towards the middle, and I think we've kind of gotten a good groove since then, but towards the middle we had some people that were expressing quite a bit of frustration with government, as well as the us versus them kind of mentality, and I thought doing it this way would be more collaborative, where everybody is helping build everything on some level, and you could still have as many people as you wanted, because if you had so many different departments and there was more people than there were departments, then you could just have two people be on a team, and one person could be the head guy and the other person would be under that guy, and you could still have as many people as you want. And if you couldn't build, that's okay. Somebody else could implement what your department has decided. That kind of thing. So Dex, you're saying that you would prefer the teams thing. You don't like the idea of doing it as all one big city. Okay, so we don't like the idea of only doing one department. Okay, so just going through the comments here. I've been reading them as I go, but just for people that are listening and maybe watching later. So, I think the team approach is better because it's easier to fix if somebody is not able to build for whatever reason. And what if two people want to do the same thing? And then Dex says, I kind of actually like the teams thing, but I'm cool with whatever. Then paint a heptagon. Maybe we should have more of a direct democracy. If there is a problem with the team's vote, if there is a problem, then the teams will vote. And maybe if it's even, to break the tie, state votes to make the final decision. And then Dex, I don't know what I'd like to be I'd like to be limited to just doing one type of thing. Painted Heptagon seconded that thought. Then also he said, not really. I think it comes with more problems. In response to me saying we're not really on board with this whole single city thing. And then Dex, yeah, the cool part of City Skylines is coordinating everything together. Nix also said, and so many systems are interdependent. Okay, guys. So I'm hearing you. So that's okay. We don't have to, just because I thought of it doesn't mean I think it was the best idea. It was just me trying to actually try and incorporate the feedback that we had gotten from Discouver and the problems that we had during Discouver, and try and take what was good from Discouver and keep that, but take what was bad from Discouver and get rid of that, or eliminate it. So if we don't like this idea, which is perfectly fine, how would you guys suggest we do it? Should we pretty much keep the system that we've had with Discouver? If so, would you change anything about this, how we did it with Discouver? Or would you do something completely different or something somewhat different? How would you do it? So, going back to the comments, Painting Heptagon is saying discussions and new thoughts are always good, and I agree. And that's what I'm trying to do here. Is just we're just talking about it. Nobody's trying. I truly don't want to be cramming anything down anybody's throats. I want to try and get everybody's feedback, and we won't make any decisions here on the stream here, because there's only really 2 or 3 people in this stream right now discussing this. We want to have this discussion with everybody that's on the Discord server, but it's sometimes easier to talk. So going back to the comments here, Discover was already a lot better than Discordia, and I agree. I actually like the Discover format, but I don't have anything to compare to. This is Dex saying this, because Dex didn't come in till Discover. Maybe some small tweaks, but it's a great starting point for rules. Okay, so Dex, what tweaks would you, if you were Emperor of Swan Valley or whatever other map that we end up using? How would you go about it? What rules would you tweak to make it work better? Don't really have any off the top of my head. That's fair enough. This question is not necessarily to try and put you on the spot. If you think of something, put it. We have a channel in Discord for just this purpose. So, one of the things that I would like to tweak, and I don't know about everybody else, we want to try and keep a balance between allowing as many people as we can to participate, but also being able to do the things we want to do with things like mods and assets and stuff. You also don't want to put too many assets in there, because you add too many assets and it actually will slow the game down. And so Discover is about as massive as I think we could get, but I do think that we might try adding some assets to the list. Like, I would like to have more roads. I would love having next to as part of the game, to where we could do quite a bit more with how we do, the network expansion. How we do the roads. I wouldn't mind having some other mods or assets, such as having elevated train stations, or even if it's just like one or two, just enough to make it viable. You know. Right, and announcing the new districts earlier was part of trying to take your guys' feedback and working that into the thing. So, Painted Heptagon, your comments here, I'm going to read them so everybody. So, one, he says, so I would have 3 teams again, 2 that build in the districts and the state government. One thing, it was already good that you announced the new districts, but when there is an issue which affects both teams, like intercity transport lines, they can vote on it. If one team breaks rules, the other team can vote on what should happen together with the other team. In general, more rights to the teams and Team 3 just as an organizer. So, one thing I will say is I think it became very unfun for Team 3, particularly for, and I'm not trying to speak for these guys, so these guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but Nuki Duke and Jack Daniels Prime both were not having fun with it, particularly towards the middle when everybody else was not having fun. And, we're seeing you guys build all this cool stuff, but we're not getting to build. And I got to build a little bit more than those guys, so I think I had a little bit more fun with it. But at the same time, even I was like, oh man, I wish I could be, messing around with this district and that district. And I think that we might need to rethink that for the sake of everybody having more fun. That doesn't mean we don't have a Team 3, but maybe the members of Team 3 really comprise the leadership of Team 1 and Team 2, if that makes sense. Okay, so we got Painted Heptagon. I get that, but when they have to join the teams like they want to, and Team 3 will be for people who don't have that much time and are fine with not building. And then Dex says, perhaps there's 3 normal teams and the other 2 teams collaborate to determine areas for each team. I don't understand what you're saying there, Dex. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's a good idea or not. I don't understand what you're trying to suggest. Yes, please. Dex, if you could just rephrase it or try and explain it a little bit, elaborate a little bit more on your idea so we can understand. So basically, there would be 3 teams and no central government. Each team would be governed by the other 2. Okay, so how would that work? So how would the other 2 teams govern the third team? Jack Daniels has finally gotten home, I imagine, and is weighing in, thinking that Dex's idea might just become a big pissing match. Jack Daniels also knowing from personal experience, I think, from how we. The thing is some of the people that come into the thing, and not everybody is privy to everything that happens. That was outside of government. For Discouver and for Discordia, for that matter, some people can be pretty egotistical and unreasonable. So that's what's going to Painted Heptagon said. XO wanted to join Team 3, so Team 3 could be you, XO, and Czardus. Isn't that fine? So right now, that is what Team 3 will be. That doesn't mean that we wouldn't maybe add more people. And we're trying to just talk about the general format. So if the format changes to something where it's more like what Dex is saying, or more like what I'm saying, or something else that we all come up with together, then that might change. And I think I can't speak for EXO, but I know for me, I would like to have the ability to build as well. On the one hand, we need to stay as impartial as we can, but on the other hand, I think that one of my ideas, as I've been talking to you guys, is Team 3 is not really a separate team. That whoever is in charge of Team 1, so just for the sake of example, not to try and exclude anybody, but because of who we already have, I would lead Team 1, EXO would lead Team 2, and, we would come together to make decisions that affect both teams or intercity stuff, and then EXO would worry about Team 2's issues, and I would worry about Team 1 issues with my team. And it wouldn't really be a separate government, and perhaps because of that, it would be more fair, and it's kind of more indicative of a representative government if the vested interest of your constituency is obvious. Okay, looking here, EXO wanted to. Oh, no, I already read that. Do you want to build more than you did this turn? So Mares would join Team 3, and then Dex says, I'm fine with Team 3 building a significant amount. As long as the right people are in charge, they can keep themselves reasonable. I tend to agree with you, Dex. And I don't know if you guys think I'm reasonable or not. I try to be. I also try and... I'm not saying that every decision I have made has been the right one or the best one or the most fair, but I also try and listen to everybody and try and incorporate everybody's thoughts and feelings, and honestly just trying to make this thing fun for everybody, because if we're not having fun, then why are we doing this, right? This is not making us any money. This is not going to change the world. It's just going to make us happier because we're having fun together. And if we're not having fun together, then why are we doing this? So, build something. I'm getting to... Sorry, Jack Daniels. Here. I'll just start building something while I'm talking. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to do stuff while I'm talking to you guys. Well, sure. And here's the thing, too, though. I think that's valid. That you don't want it to feel like teams are weird. Team 3 is taking away, but at the same time, I think that it was not. It just wasn't thought of in the beginning. It wasn't thought through until after we had gotten to that point in the game. So it was one of those things. Well, could it have been handled better? I think it could have, and that's I will take my share of the blame for that. But at the same time, I think that if we had thought of it at the beginning, that's exactly what we would have done. But to answer your earlier question of would I like to have built more, yeah, I would love to have been able to work on actual city building in downtown and placing landmarks and just like what we were doing today. I would have loved to have worked that rail problem without but if I had really worked it the way I felt it needs to be worked on, I would be stepping on Team 1, which I have no intention of doing. And on the one hand, I don't really mind that that's not my place, and that I'm going to let you guys work on that. On the other hand, I would love to have been able to work on that and do more. And I know for a fact Jack Daniels, and he can speak for himself since he's here, wants to build more, and he'd rather be a builder than worry about the politics of it. At least for the next city. I don't know if he might not come back into the fold of government later. But what I was trying to do is make it to where, if you are in government, you're not having to sacrifice so much to be in government. If we're both on the teams and we're also in government, as long as we're being fair to everybody, I think that should. I don't see why that can't be workable. You know what I mean? Okay, looking at the comments here regarding what map to use, I wouldn't mind people just posting links to random interesting Google Earth locations. Don't have to actually create a map unless people love one of them. Well, who would build the map? You gotta have me build the map? I could do that. Then Painted Heptagon says, I see two options for you, speaking to me, I believe. Join one of the teams, or two, most cities have a government district, which mostly includes offices and government buildings, and that's something you could build on. And then Dex, I can learn, absolutely. And I'd be happy to help you out with that, Dex, if you're, whether or not it's for this or not, just if you're needing some help with anything, I'm happy to help. Get on with a private chat session or whatever I can do to help. Then Jack Daniels Prime, if a couple of people felt comfortable enough with each other, we could use TeamViewer and allow the second player to have control of the first player's PC, and both could build at the same time. I would like to try getting into map making as well. This is Painted Heptagon saying map making comment. Then Dex, I've made a few maps from scratch. The terrain.party thing looks pretty simple to figure. It really is. You click on it, you download it, you got to extract it and then put it into the correct folder directory. And then when you're in the map editor, you just there's a little button down there. You click it, you click on the file, click import, and it pops it in. But then you gotta do all the details. You gotta make sure that you still gotta put in your roads. You still gotta put in your water and your trees and your all that stuff. So I'm not saying it's not simple. It is. It makes, honestly, it's the only way, in my opinion, that to make a good realistic looking map. I say that you could do it manually, but it just is so much more work than just finding a good realistic real location and importing it in, because there's no better artist than Mother Nature to make it look real, because on some level the reason this looks so real is because it is real. That's what it actually is. It looks like real mountains because those are real mountains. So then it's just for your part, it's just about finding the right location, and choosing your location wisely, and then knowing how to. I think the hardest part about all of this is the water, getting the water to work right, not putting it too much, not putting it too little. That's probably the hardest part of it. So. Okay, going back to this, Jed General says, I need to figure out how to make better cliffs. Well, I didn't make these cliffs. These are just part of the thing, and really this came in and it was just a depression. Because it's where the actual river is, and the actual river does have that much slope to it. I did change this. I added that. Just one little detail I added in. Paint That Heptagon's already got 2 locations, which might be interesting. All right, guys. Well, it seems like the conversation has died down because everybody's out doing their own thing, which is fine. So I think we can just continue this discussion. We need to figure this out, I think, before we start the new city, for obvious reasons. But it was good getting your feedback. It already, I think, is going to help me understand better what people are looking for, and we'll go from there. So thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. Painted Heptagon, Dex, Jack Daniels, Scott, even though he's not here anymore, and everybody else that's watching and just lurking. Thanks for lurking with us as well. And if you want to be part of really probably the next city, you just gotta go to Czardus' server, and we can have a link put in. Let's see here. Bear with me a second. Invite. And then go over here. There you go. There's a nice little link for you to go to if you want to join. Just go to that Discord server and find out more information from there. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to y'all later.